Righty ho. Oh, that's a bit loud. Righty ho. Yeah, that's better.
Am I good?
That's how you test it. You say righty ho.
Righty ho.
Yeah, yours.
I'm good. All right. The righty ho test is what we do from now on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. First of all, move that bottle over.
That was a total accident.
Yeah. I have a thing with bottles, man.
Yeah. What about my keys?
No, the keys are fine. No, leave the keys out. Leave the apples out. No. Bro, you can leave everything out. It's just bottles.
You made me uncomfortable.
The camera's not in the center.
It's not in the center.
No, it's more towards Kaya.
Was it? That's fine.
Yeah. No, it genuinely probably is fine. And also, whose voice is that? Because I didn't realize I actually had your mic on.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, yeah, that was Abdullah's voice. Sorry. That was on. I'll turn it off for now. Let it go off.
We haven't started it anyway.
Oh, no. Bro, we started recording. I can't turn your mic off.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. It's on now for the rest of the episode.
Okay, so now...
Yeah. If you just, I like that, we won't be to you. Oh, what I can do, though, is I can turn down to 0.
That'd help.
There you go. Now you're muted. But if you decide to talk, boom, yeah? As in, for those watching, if those listening and not watching, when I said boom, I was just talking about turning the volume up on the H6. Yes. I don't want to get in trouble.
No, yeah. Should be fine.
Yeah. Okay, so Kaya, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I had a lot of carbs today.
Ooh.
So I got a bit of a carb crash before I got here. But I was thinking, you got to power through it. But alhamdulillah, I feel good now. It's
interesting you brought that up, actually.
Oh, wow.
Because actually, this week, I've been consuming a lot of Tim Spector content, as I was telling Abdullah, wasn't I? And and Tim Spector is this guy who talks about nutrition and calories and stuff like that. So that is actually interesting that you said that. I don't have any other information other than that.
Well, guess what?
What?
Put Tim's specky aside.
Yeah.
It's all about what's his name? Andrew Huberman.
I've been consuming Huberman.
Yeah. So whoever the guy you're listening to, just forget him.
No, I think they're friends.
No, he's not. Forget him.
No, I think he's been on the Huberman podcast.
He's not good enough.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about Huberman Labs.
Yeah.
No. In all seriousness, we've been talking. We spoke last week as well about this. So
you introduced me to Huberman last week. Yeah. I'm so late to the party.
That's right. Yeah. So basically, I'm getting to health a bit more. I don't consider myself to be a healthy person in general because my sleep ain't right, my diet ain't right, all that kind of stuff.
So when you say becoming health abuse, diet's not right.
I'm basically before I do anything in life, I research for roughly 7 years.
Yeah, you are a researcher.
I do. Which is
Can you just tell the audience about your coffee machine? How long you researched it before you bought it?
That was a good. That one I'll defend though because it was a relatively big purchase, and I thought I don't want to. I researched it for about on and off for about a year.
Yeah, that's strong though, isn't it? It's a strong piece of
Yeah, it was, because
research.
The thing is, it was going to be pretty much a decent size investment, yeah? So I wanted to make sure I'm not going to just buy it and then I'll fall off the hobby. In 3 months' time, I'm in a new phase and I won't want to make coffee at home or make espresso at home. So I waited for a year to because what I do is I'll go through phases on YouTube. I'm watching this type of health content, coffee content, this podcast content, whatever. And so I felt if I just run out of steam on that phase, then it'll be a silly investment because I just won't do it. So I thought, let me give myself time and see, do I actually like espresso and this whole science of making espresso? So yeah, over about a year, I was able to say that I do like it actually.
That is, I really rate you because that is serious discipline. To want something for a year and not buy it because you just want to make sure it's a good investment. Yeah, that is, I rate that highly.
I don't know if it's worth rating because I don't know. One is
we should turn this podcast from freshly grounded to highly rated.
Yeah, there you go. It could be a form of just delaying a big purchase, which is fairly like me as well. I don't like spending a lot of money on things for myself specifically, which I never have. So that is that coming to it as well. There's a lot of psychology behind it, which most of it is not praiseworthy. But yeah, here's what it is, man. I wanted to make sure it's going to be a good purchase, so yeah. Yeah,
so on a serious note, you introduced last week. We were talking about you told us about Huberman, and I've kept seeing him online. Algorithm is sending his face on all these thumbnails to me, but for some reason I just never clicked. And then when you told me about him last week, I clicked, and bro, it's just such a wealth of content, man.
Yeah, he's very good, man. He's got a lot of sleep stuff, vitamin, supplement stuff.
So who is he? For a person someone like me who lives in a cave, who is it Andrew or Alex Huberman? Andrew Huberman.
I think it's Andrew, isn't it?
Yeah. So person lives in a cave, just like me. Yeah. Give me a lift, elevator pitch.
I'll just binge this guy podcast.
We've just got in the elevator. I'm going to level 1, mate. Yeah. So I'm getting out very soon.
Fine.
All right, I'm about to press the button.
Ding.
Beep.
All right. I ain't got a clue who he is. He's got a podcast. I don't even know where he studied. Don't know where his credentials are. His name is Mr. Huberman to me. He's got a podcast with Human Labs. No, seriously, when he introduced himself, he was like, "Oh, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm like, okay, I know what you're not. What are you?" So I'm thinking some sort of scientist, basically, right? He has studied.
It's my flaw.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
That's basically it.
Who were you? What were you talking to me about?
Yeah, that's basically what I got. I don't know exactly what his credentials are, where he studied, or what. Like, I'm not sure like what his specialty is in like science or fitness. But he's got some sort of specialty.
I have more information than you, and I've just watched it for a week. But he's a neuroscientist.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, and which is like the science of the brain and the neurons and all that kind of stuff. So he understands how the brain talks to the rest of the body.
That silly little one, yeah.
And he teaches at Stanford University.
Yeah,
So
there you go. So I didn't even know that. Yeah.
So actually, I'm going back in the elevator. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
you introduced.
I'm the kind of guy who will listen to the actual content, whereas you seem to be the guy who just like researches the man.
Just so I can know what I'm talking about on the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds right though.
You're right. Yeah.
But he's a very good man. And I'm basically just like I'm binging that right now.
Well, now I am.
Yeah.
You've put that. You actually put me on a lot of things. You put me on MFM.
Yeah, great podcast.
And then I binged that for like a year, every single day almost.
Yeah.
And I've never put you on anything.
No, you have. Who's that guy?
Dave Ramsey.
I already knew about Dave Ramsey there. But you put me, you put me on Freshly Grounded, which a podcast I listened to for years. Who's the other guy that also Sam likes? The old guy who's like
which Sam? Abdul Samad.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know.
Old guy from like the 80s who gave like talks.
Oh,
John Rowe.
No, the old motivational speaker. He's dead now, and he's like Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
I never knew about him. You put me on him. I used to see a few of his stuff. Probably someone else. Put me on.
If you want to be successful,
you gotta act like it.
He's a sick guy.
I do like him.
So anyway, I've been watching Andrew Huberman's Fast Week, bro. Like, and what he does in a really great way is he explains how really complicated parts of your brain work, and he gives analogies that are really easy to understand.
That's right. Yeah, he's very good, man. He's very easy to listen to. I like listening to these sort of technical topics, but you can get lost. Like if you don't know what is being spoken about, you can get lost. And sometimes it's nice to get lost and try and learn, but he does a very good job of like explaining how the brain works and the different little things that it does. I've never really thought about, but it does. Yeah, the brain is amazing, subhanAllah. But he do again supplements, sleep, diet. Currently, I'm listening to one about breathing.
Okay.
Breathing through your nose rather than your mouth, and the health benefits of that. Yeah, it's like a 2-hour podcast, man. Just so much information packed in there.
You should breathe through your nose.
By default, most of the time you should be breathing through your nose.
And is there ever a reason why breathing through your mouth is better?
Yeah, so if you're doing like exercise, like hard exercise, like you can breathe through your mouth at that point, and that's fine. But we, generally speaking, during life and sleep, we should be breathing through our noses.
Interesting. I've seen a video of Ali Abdal where he taped his mouth shut when he was sleeping.
It's probably from like same sort of science.
Maybe.
I'm considering doing that.
Yeah, you can actually buy like that specific mouth tape for sleep. Yeah, in the UK you can. Yeah, that's
probably. Yeah.
Fine. So Andrew Huberman, tick. We didn't even have that on the agenda for the episode. Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking that for this episode, here's what we're gonna do for the episode. We're gonna have a little bit of a back and forth, pitch to each other ideas. Could be absurd. They could be realistic. They could be unrealistic. But the basis of the ideas are ideas that we think, in some capacity, exist in the non-Muslim world. That don't necessarily, that we know of, exist in the Muslim world. That we think could be beneficial to the Muslim world.
Yeah.
And the basis of this discussion, really, the thought process behind it for me was, Muslims live a very specific, particular lifestyle. And because of that, often it's a good, like we kind of need to curate services for ourselves, or adapt services for ourselves for them to fit that lifestyle. But there's some companies or organizations or projects or ideas that are curated for Muslims, and there's huge benefit in them. And so this isn't, as a disclaimer, I guess, like us trying to have like figure out ideas where we're basically like trying to figure out how we can like copy, you know, copy general society. The idea is, are there services or projects that exist that are great, but like they could be started by Muslims for Muslims, and it could work out for them like, for example, easy example, women-only gyms.
Yeah.
But obviously that's stuff that exists. Alhamdulillah, could be more of them, but it exists. And so I thought we could pitch each other those ideas. How does that sound?
Sounds good. I've got a couple ideas.
You hit me first.
All right, first one is kind of similar to women's gyms, but not really. So in the West, you hear a lot about, or just generally, like men's clubs, right? And so here in Dubai, we've got ladies clubs, right? Which is like just ladies only, no men are in there. It's like they're just chilling in their pools. So that's cool. But men's clubs generally in the world, they're a bit more like based around cigars and smoking and maybe a bit gambling, that kind of thing, like around Western wellness stuff. It would be nice to have a men's club where it's not like that. And it's not necessarily a gym. Maybe a gym is part of it, but it's more like a lounge, maybe snooker table, ping pong tables, or just like, but a bit more like classy as well, but without the cigars and the seediness of it. And like maybe it's got like a majlis in there, like that kind of stuff, just like nice vibes. And it's like open 24/7. It's like a gym that's open 24/7, but it's not a gym. Somewhere you go with your boys, but it's not seedy. It's somewhere that's like respectable to go. You know, that could be very good. I like the idea of that a lot.
I like the idea of that. I think that's good. Kind of, there's a good brand element to it as well, because I've met some brothers that are good, older, practicing brothers that are also, they've also climbed the career ladder very well. And so their circle is also like wealthy, practicing Muslim brothers. And they have like, they do gatherings together, and they have like WhatsApp groups, and they talk about different ways that they can like give back, different projects that they can give sadaqah to. They talk about like how they can set up a good retirement plan for themselves and their families in a halal way. And for individuals like that who are practicing, yet they enjoy the finer things in life, and it does not in any way seem, I've not seen anything excessive from them at all. They have nice houses and they have nice cars and stuff like that. The priority is very clearly the deen as well. I think for individuals like that, it seems like they all gelled well together because they had a similar lifestyle. And so for individuals like that, where there's a bit of a premium offering, I think could work really well.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like
membership's a bit expensive.
Yeah, a little bit, like decent barrier to entry. But specifically talking about the West and stuff, like maybe there could be different tiers of it, or different, like, again, there's some that will be more classy, some will be more like for like the teenagers. When I was growing up in London and stuff, there was nowhere for me and my friends to go that was like not a bar or club or
shisha lounge.
Yeah. Right? If it's past like 6 p.m, Starbucks Costa's closed like 3 hours ago or something like that, something silly like that. Bit of exaggeration. But after that point, it's like there's nothing to do other than like pub, club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe you can do like a bowling every now and again, but you can't do bowling every week or every night.
Bit golf.
You can try, but even there, it's like, you know, you go to like a Top Golf or something like that. It's not the best place to be. But yeah, there's nowhere like you can go, especially in the West, where it's like, I just want to chill with my boys and not do anything dodgy, you know? So a club that could be like more geared also towards teenagers and stuff, that again, it's not just like, oh, all the teenagers are, it turns into a bit of a seedy place in and of itself. But again, a little bit of barrier to entry. It's kind of like a gym, but you can go there. Your parents aren't worried about you being there. You don't look weird if you've got a wife as well. It's just like, it's a calm place to go. And it's nice. And it's open till late. And it's like, it's fine. That would be nice. But again, also for like the older gentlemen who've got a business of 5 and property, and they want to go somewhere and not have to, you know, sit where people are drinking or doing anything else. I think it's a very good business idea just in general.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. What about you?
So I had one that I've mentioned a few times in the pod, but I'll mention it again. People are going to be sick of me saying this guy's name, but I'm passionate about this because it doesn't exist. I don't know that it exists. And I've actually tried to speak to different people of knowledge once or twice and try and push them to do it. But essentially, something that's really helped me in my life a few years ago was the Dave Ramsey show. And have you heard Dave Ramsey? Abdullah? All right, fine. So this is I can speak to you about this as if you're someone who hasn't heard of Dave Ramsey, because you are someone who hasn't heard of Dave Ramsey. So Dave Ramsey, this guy in America, older man who has a show, or I think it's changed now because I tried listening to it recently and I found it really hard because now he's got all these different hosts on it. And they don't do the same kind of advice. They give like life advice, which I'm not as interested in because, bro, when it comes to life,
you need advice.
Yeah, I'm all right. So basically, I'll tell you like the version that I was like addicted to, right? Which was, he has a show, a podcast where that he does every day. He's a personal finance expert or guru, and people live call in his show. They tell him their problems, which are everyday normal American problems with their finances, and he gives them advice. And it is it's a no, how do you say, like it's a cutthroat, straight to the point advice from like an older dad kind of figure. And his advice was bang on, bro, every time. And by listening to that, what was amazing is, first of all, you don't feel alone when you're struggling to manage your personal finances. And bro, this doesn't mean that it wasn't a show for people who are broke. People who it can be. You can call in if you're broke and you're struggling. You got no money, no savings. You got a job where you're just like kind of like, you know, earning regular wage. But it's also people who are like millionaires would call in, and they're just like struggling to manage their money, bro. It's like everyone has different problems at their different levels, right? Yeah. And because he himself is a millionaire, and he talks about how he built his businesses and he went broke and he rebuilt his businesses, he's kind of got that experience. So the show is literally people live calling, him giving them advice. The great benefit from it was a few different things. One was you can relate to the people who are calling in. There's always someone who's calling in that you can kind of relate to them. Yeah. The second advantage was that his system is adaptable for everybody. It works for everybody. So it's like he calls it a baby step plan. So before I go on to that, one of the other reasons it's beneficial is because in every show, someone would call in who's become debt free, and they would do this thing called the debt free scream. You heard it, right? Yeah. And so they'd call in and they'd go, I'm debt free. And it's like how they followed his plan and became debt free. It sounds like a bit pyramid schemey, but it's not. It's like super legit. And it was, and so that was beneficial because it's inspirational. You listen to these people and you think, wow, I can get there. And these people had, whether it was just they had a student overdraft, like many of us had interest-free student overdraft, or it was like they financed a sofa when they couldn't afford it or whatever, like all of these different things. Once they've got out of that mess, essentially, they're like, I'm debt-free. And then you listen to it, you think, oh man, I could do this. So that was another reason. And then the third reason, as I just said, is the baby step. So his plan was essentially something along the lines of, step one, save a $1,000 emergency fund. Regardless of where you're at, whether you've got debts to your eyeballs or whatever, first step for everybody, save a $1,000 emergency fund. Once you've done that, step two is get into a debt snowball. What that meant is pay off all of your debts and start with the smallest and then work your way up. And people often say that doesn't make mathematical sense, because if your largest debt is going to be incurring the most interest, because obviously like he's doing it to non-Muslims, and so mathematically speaking, you would want to pay for your biggest debt first. And he said that's correct, but you're not in this problem because you have a maths issue. You're in this problem because you have a life, brain, thinking issue. And so when you pay off your smallest debt, you become excited and motivated, and you want to pay off your next debt. Then you do your debt snowball. Step three is save a proper emergency fund, which he said is a 6 to 8 month emergency fund. So it's 6 to 8 months worth of what you need to survive. So then if you ever like randomly lose your job, for 6 to 8 months you can maintain your current lifestyle while you get your income back up or find a job, and so on and so forth. At that point, the steps start getting a bit like in the area where we wouldn't necessarily go down, because it's like talking about like interest-based mortgages and so on and so forth, and then like put your money in these bonds and these shares and stuff like that, 401k. And it's like, as a Muslim, you're not going to put your money in certain bonds and shares, right? Because finance is very intricate as a Muslim. So you need to. So my point was, here's a guy, and then the other thing that kind of like at the end of every episode, he'd be like, I remember to walk in Jesus' name or something like that. He would say it because he was like really practicing Christian. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if there was someone who understood Islamic finance very well and did that exact show? And it would probably change the lives of so many Muslims, because they'd feel inspired. Because, bro, at the end of the day, so many people, they don't talk about it much, but so many people have personal finance issues. So many people in the world have debts. So many people are even if they're earning £10,000 a month, bro, exaggeration, but let's say 10,000, they're earning 10,000, they're spending 10,000. And so the same issue they would have had if they were earning 2K, they're still having a 10K. Yeah. And so I feel like this is very important. And so that's a long-winded way of me saying my plan or idea is a Muslim Dave Ramsey, and I've actually pitched that to a few like shuyukh and stuff. Yeah, but it's never really gone anywhere.
I feel like it's going to be a big task, but yeah, if someone's out there who is like, it's hard to say. I was about to say, even if you're not necessarily like Islamic qualified, but that's a silly advice. I think you should be Islamic qualified, obviously, like to do with finance and stuff. But you could do it in a way where it's like, even if you're just somebody who's just like done well financially in the dunya, you could give some advice without overstepping, without like giving fatwa or anything like that.
And I think that's where it needs to be, because you're right, it gets really sticky. Like in anything with Islam, obviously people have different opinions, and the opinions with finance are very strong. And if somebody was to believe something that's a bit more like strict or less strict, for example, then those who are strict would like turn off completely. So I think the advice would have to be more based on like this baby step plan, like create a baby step, like
the very basic steps.
You can't go wrong. Yeah, basics. That's what it is, bro. Dave Ramsey's basic steps. Like the steps are basic, right? I know Dave Ramsey's basic, but the steps are basic. That's the point. Like it could be something as simple as step 1, pay off if you have any interest-based debts, pay them off as quick as possible, because obviously everyone agrees. If you got interest rate, if you got debts that have interest, you shouldn't have got really in them in the first place. Obviously, interest, blah blah. So, if from an Islamic perspective, forget saving, bro. You got to pay off your interest-based debts ASAP. Step 2, save £1,000. Step 3, like start paying back your non-interest debts, like with the money you owe people. And you could have like these basic steps that don't overstep the mark and start. And if people call in and ask for fatwa, like, oh, I want to get like this house on this, like. Look, that's not what this show is. The show is helping people just become more like Dave Ramsey gives really like super clean information that like can be Islamic as well, which is that applies to Muslims as well. Sorry, which is one of the things he says is one of the principles is you should never have a pound that doesn't have a label on it, bro. That changed my life, because otherwise what happens is you go, okay, I've been paid £2,000. £500 for rent, £200 for my car petrol, £100 is for whatever, and then you go, oh, now I've got £300 left over. That's just my leftover money. He goes, no, that's not leftover money. Every pound of that £300 has to have a label on it. If it's money for like spending and you call it that or whatever, but you put a label on every single pound. You never have a dollar that doesn't have a label on it. Yeah. That's a great principle. That's changed my life. So it can be non-controversial. It is sticky though. It is sticky. I wouldn't do it.
But yeah, exactly. But you can keep it like financial hygiene, like it's like the very basics. Like
that's what should be called.
Yeah, that is a good name. There you go.
That's amazing.
Financialhygiene.com. Yeah.
Are you a copywriter by any chance?
I've dabbled. No, something like that was like you could do it in a way that's like, yes, we're Muslims, we are conscious of this, like interest, so on and so forth. But really and truly, my advice doesn't actually ever really delve into the Islamic finance to the point where I'm giving any sort of fatwa or anything like that. It's more like the absolute basics of, okay, you're in £7,000 of debt and you got this car and that couch. How can we get out of it? And by the way, be conscious of not getting this kind of loan. And when you hit X amount of savings, be conscious that you need to start paying zakat. Things like that, which is like basic.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just like hygiene and like, again, inspiration. They can be
like
as well.
Islamic advisors that they can like advise them to go to or something.
But it's more like just like bringing like this discussion to the Muslim community without overstepping that mark, basically. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That enough is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, the principles, bro. Like, don't buy things on fire, regardless of whether they're permissible or not permissible. Like, as in, like, regardless of whether it's interest-free or not, it's just probably not the best idea to buy a sofa on finance if you're fine with the sofa that you have, considering you're going to get in finance. If you're buying finance, means you can't pay it outright. Like, some hygiene.
Some of Dave Ramsey's stuff,
Oh, well, how about this? It's Islamic financial hygiene.
.org.uk. Yeah. How was it? Yeah. So some of the best episodes, of Dave Ramsey stuff is when he's like, someone calls in and like, yeah, I'm in $3,000 of debt, but I just got this new truck, and it's an extra $500. He's like, what?
Yeah. He's like,
what?
You bought a truck?
Rewind. Yeah. What did you say? Yeah. He's like, and so he gives him a lesson.
Yeah.
And that's like, again, we could do that as like or someone who does this could do that like as a Muslim brother to another Muslim brother. It's like, bro, if you're in that, you didn't need to get that car like that at this point. You should And that alone, bro.
Women calling it like, my son, like, he's like, so what do you spend money? He's like, my son, he's 22 years old, and he's like in college, and I give him $500 a month. He's like, oh, you're 22 years old. Does he work? He's like, no, he doesn't work. And he's like, he needs to get a job. Like, stop paying him $500 a month. Like, it's so funny, but like, he's so opinionated.
Yeah, and for some reason, it's always, I think it's like, he's like Southern, innit? And I think he gets a lot of something. He's like, you gotta sell that truck.
Yeah,
you gotta sell that.
I love my trucks. It's like,
and you know me, I love my truck, but you gotta get rid of that truck.
Because he's like a Southern Trinity accent. Like, the way they pronounce their O's is so funny. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But so basically,
I don't know why you're buying trucks. It's so funny, bro.
That kind of like just advice in our community, in the Muslim Ummah, will go so far.
Bro,
just
you
that
need
alone.
it, man. You see like older dad figures go, what are you doing?
Bro, how many brothers do we see in the UK who are just like, they're 16, 17, 18, they're spending grands on car, like, not even cars. The car is worth not a lot. They're spending grands on like the exhaust.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
bro, just, he need that
There isn't anyone here to tell them actually about financial, other than Eugene, actual advice on investing and
that's it, man.
how you should spend your money as well.
And also someone, exactly.
Yeah.
And someone to make it cool to not spend your money on an exhaust.
Bro,
This is the thing.
Someone to make it cool to be like, if you're spending all of your money on a designer bag, if you want a designer bag, like, I'm not here to tell you to not get a designer bag. But what I'm saying is if you just got paid and 60% of your salary is about to go on a designer bag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is the thing. We need someone to make it relatable.
Yeah.
And cool.
Do you know who'd be good at it? In terms of, I don't know about his, like, from his financial perspective, but from his voice, his tone, and how he relates to young people. Abdul Hakim, Son of Remedies.
Yeah.
The way he speaks is so relatable, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
man.
obviously, I'm not saying he's...
Yeah.
I'm from the angle of,
No, for sure.
his communication skills.
I 100% agree with
Someone
you.
who knows about finance and understands finance as well. Obviously, someone who's successful in the dunya as well, so you can... Because if someone's got credit behind them, you're more likely to listen.
Exactly, that's true. Yeah. That's true. That's a very good point.
They need to have, obviously, and then financial understanding about finance and the Islamic perspective in it as well.
Yeah.
Islamic finance.
Yeah, but I agree. You need someone who knows their stuff and is respected in the dunya as well.
Yeah.
So that, again, I keep saying
But bro,
it.
do you know what? There's so many brothers like that, but they're just
There
unknown.
is, exactly. There are. I'm hoping one brother's listening to this. If we can, well, I could actually do that.
Yeah, and
just
he should
launch
start,
it. And I don't think you don't even have to be, like you said, well known right now to do it. Like, you could be just a brother who's had a business for 10 years. You've done quite well for yourself. I also don't think you have to be like a billionaire to do this either. You just have to be someone who's done fairly well for themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And just start doing it, man. Give advice. Just don't overstep the mark, Islamically or dunya-wise, quite frankly.
Maybe they obviously, like, they need to have advisors. They need to have like Islamic advisors. They probably need to study Islamic finance to a level and stuff like that as well. Yeah. Which is like makes it a bit tough. And
for a small fee, we can.
So it's tough, bro. But like as an as a light idea, I think that
was a good idea. That was a heavy idea, actually.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to lift that.
Yeah, there you go.
Fine.
I think there was a company once called Halal Ads. This is another idea.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Which is a great idea. I think the problem with, I don't know where they are now, if maybe they're successful, but what I was thinking is obviously there's not a lot of place for Muslim influencers or to go where the ads are curated for them as like super halal, and there's loads of Muslim businesses. So even if they are around still
about,
yeah, great, but they're not as known to the point where like everywhere you go, like, are you on Halal Ads? You know what I mean? Like, whereas AdSense is obviously spoken about everywhere and stuff like that. So the problem with Halal Ads, not the company, I'm sure they're great, but just generally like that kind of business, I imagine the problem is the fact that it's so niche. Yeah. Because you'd have to like not want to do normal ads. And essentially, if Manscaped sponsored us, there's nothing wrong with it. So why do we need that? So there's an argument for that. But I do like the idea of that business.
That's a great idea. Yeah. I agree. The niche is small, but definitely big enough to have a nice business.
Yeah, you like a good niche.
I like a good niche. Yeah. I like a good niche.
This is like Kaya's marketing thing is like he's all about a niche.
I do like niches, and again, that may not be $1 billion company, but it could definitely be a multi-million-dollar company. So I think I'll rate those brothers. I'll get in touch with them and just say, hey. Nice.
Yeah, hey, nice.
Yeah. But another one that I thought about earlier, but forgot it, but it reminded me, is like, Angel.com. I think it was purchased by someone big. Angel.com, basically angel investors.
Okay.
It's basically like LinkedIn, but for angel investors.
I think I've seen it, yeah.
So startups can go there and like can go find someone to invest in their company. We should have something like that for the Ummah, where it's like angel investors and like startups, like a marketplace, where it's like, okay, hey, we're a new startup in Malaysia, we're building this 3D printer, whatever, and we need funding. But it's like, all the businesses are permissible, inshallah, and like there's no interest or banks involved to do anything like that. It's just like straight like peer-to-peer or investor to company platform, just connecting people who want to invest in like good companies, Muslim companies. Yeah,
another sub-product of that could be halal loans. So I remember listening to one talk once, and this sheikh, he said that we need more wealthy Muslims giving halal loans that are not interest based and stuff like that. And so almost like a job board, but like you can like put an application, and the vetting process could be super thorough.
Yeah.
Like some kind of system where it's like, you know, military grade vetting, like it's proper, like are you able to pay? Like, so you can have to do all of that, but the point is that a guy, for the sake of Allah, who, you know, £1,000, £10,000, £50,000 not going to make a difference to him.
Yeah.
For the sake of Allah, he gives it back. They enter a contract. You know, it's completely interest free. He just gets back his exact amount of money that he loaned out.
Yeah.
Because it does need to be more of that. I suppose from a business angle, like where's the sense there? I suppose it's like
that's more like charity. From his perspective, it's more charity.
From the guy, but like, look, it's
this is why investments also like, they're both good ideas. I think they're both good ideas. You mentioned like jobs. It's like muslimjobs.io. Shout out to them guys, because they built like a Muslim job board. Yeah. So that's a great idea. I think that's one I would have had an idea for, but they stole it and smashed it. Alhamdulillah.
I think from a tech perspective, there could be some kind of app or SaaS. I think like an entire SaaS system built for something really intricate, like I don't know exactly right, but in Islam and as Muslims, we value things like privacy a lot. We value things like honor, shyness, ghira, and stuff like that. I think within that, it makes me think that there could be some space for something that's like, you know, for example, 1Password.
Yeah.
1Password is an app and a website where you have just one password and it stores all your passwords. But their whole branding is that they have military grade password encryption. It's impossible to essentially like hack. That's their whole big sell. And so I wonder if like there's that, considering like that is such a big thing for Muslims generally, like privacy, I wonder if there's some way that an idea of some sort of security idea could be married to how Muslims live their lives. I don't know. Interesting. I know saving passwords is a bit of a boring one because it exists, but like maybe like I saw this is a perfect example. So I don't know what the solution is here, but I know the problem. So I saw a tweet where some Muslim girl put out that they've had a Muslim female WhatsApp group for a long time, and then they recently realized that someone in that group, and they like maybe share private things that you don't show your sisters, pictures with no hijab, and they found out that there was a guy in the group who was, I suppose, like pretending to be a sister. So imagine if, for example, there's an app, because sisters in communities, brothers in communities, especially around the world, become more digital, maybe an app that can somehow like 100% verify that every person is a sister. That could definitely exist, Bill, because like when it comes to apps, like when we had the NHS app, like the NHS app, where you have to literally film your face, prove that you show your driver's license, take a picture, all that kind of stuff.
That's a good idea, because you know, at one point you and me were talking about maybe a business where it's like a community business, like the segregated community. Yeah. So we're like, okay, how can we make sure that the sisters? There could be an app that's separate from that. It's just literally like,
that's the service they provide.
Yeah, that's the service.
You can put that encryption. Yeah.
Hey, Masajid and Islamic organizations and new Islamic startups. Hey, by the way, if you want to make some sort of online community now, we're here to enforce segregation. We'll handle that. Yeah. That's a great business. Yeah, and it could be something like, for example, it's just a setup. Like you film your face, you film your ID card and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I suppose that's as far as you can go. You can't control. That's fair. That's basically it, man. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's an argument of like, what if like, you know,
take your phone.
You take my phone, but that argument's always going to exist. That argument is 1Password. I log into 1Password. And you can have a setting where you don't have to log in. You don't have to put your password in for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can't. There's got to be a point where you say like that's enough. Because you could say, for example, let's say you go a restaurant, you got women's toilet, men's toilet. You could say, well, someone could dress up as a woman. It's like you can't. You can't do everything. But yeah, that's a good idea.
I think that's the best idea. Yeah.
Your other one was
my idea.
Yeah.
Look at that, winner, chicken dinner. Me.
Yeah. But you've reminded me, give me the idea of like hardware. We're talking about software. It would be sick if like there was more like, I guess it's hard to say it's like Muslim or Islamic hardware, but definitely like hardware that's made in like Muslim countries.
Have you got an idea?
Not really.
The only Islamic hardware that I can ever think of is, I didn't mean to laugh at this point. The only Islamic hardware I can think of that is something that always comes to mind is Quran Cube. I feel like every Muslim has Quran Cube.
Yeah.
Have you seen Quran Cube?
It helps kids learn.
Abdullah is a very good test for like consumer stuff. Because have you heard of it? Like, no, okay, it's probably not that big then.
Yeah.
That cave.
Yeah. He's the friend of the cave.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm talking about bigger stuff. Like, it'll be sick if there was like a smartphone made in a Muslim country, but it's like a good quality one, like an Apple competitor across a Muslim country, or like, and it could have features that are like, so for example, you know, when you get a laptop in an Arab country or Muslim country, the extent, or even a smartphone maybe, the extent that it's Muslim or Arab is that the keyboard, and you can also change it to the Hijri calendar. That's it.
No, but you could do it on any device.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So but that's the extent it will go. But if it was made in a Muslim country, maybe there's other stuff where it's like, no, the default is we've got apps that are installed already that have everything integrated that like to do with the Salah and the Ramadan and Zakat, and like that comes as standard as part of the phone, but it's still a legit phone. It's a very good like competitor to like a Samsung or an Apple, but by default it's for the Muslim market, it's for the Islamic market. So it's like, you know, part of the new maps of that phone is like all your local mosques, like, you know, you can sort of have an option to see all your local mosques around you, for example. That kind of stuff would be nice to see. I'm not sure if that exactly fits with our conversation, but that would be nice to see.
You know what, bro? I think that we can do for the next episode, before we end this one, I think for the next episode, we can come with some case studies of already successful Muslim businesses who are doing what we've spoken about, because two come to mind for me already. One is, there's a website which does halal holidays. Do you guys know what that is?
Halalbooking.com.
Halal Booking, yeah. And they've smashed it.
Yeah.
So we could do a case study, look into them, and maybe like tell their story. Yep. There's another one, Eid Party, who I know them very well.
Okay.
Eid Party smashed it, bro. Mashallah. Like, it's started by a Muslim sister, Riz, and it's like family orientated business, and they bro, like it's the one place to go for Eid set for in the UK anyway, for like getting Eid decorations and Ramadan decorations. Eid parties, they've become like the only place to go to. I think they've monopolized that side of things. Other than that, there's a few websites here and there. There's Etsy and stuff like that. But I think Eid Parties like smashed it. So maybe we could like break down a few of these and do some case studies.
I like that. Yeah, very good.
I know you're into the research episodes.
I like a little case study. One more thing before I go, because I'd love to see this now. The smartphone one's kind of like, we like it, nice, but this would be sick. A luxury item from Muslim country.
Oh, that's good.
Right. So think about watches and timepieces. You think, you know, Switzerland and this. Bro, imagine like one that comes from a Muslim country, or like a Muslim city. It's like there's a sick watchmaker, he's making these watches, and like I'm not talking about like a smartwatch, I'm talking about like old school, good, old, quote unquote, old technology. Yeah. But it's sick, it's beautiful, it's excellently made. But again, it's not available in gold for men. Because it's just like, why would it be?
Good,
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, it gets popular in America. Oh, why isn't it in gold? Well, guess what, mate? Guess what? This is actually made in, you know what I mean, such and such place. It doesn't come in gold. The women's one comes in gold, but not the men's one. The men's is only like adamantium and oil.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't even know what that means.
There you go.
But I like it.
Yeah. But that would be. I'd love to see that, like a Muslim-made timepiece or luxury item. You're tempted to go the whole fashion route, but it kind of feels like.
But this is what it was about. So
fashion has kind of been done, but I'd love to see like a timepiece or like other luxury items. I don't know, like. I know, well, the watches sort of like they stand out to me. That would be amazing to see.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Guys, comment below on this video if you have any ideas that are better than ours. I'm sure it's not going to be too hard.
I strong down.
And also what you thought about this episode. Thank you so much. This is Freshly Ground, episode 314. That's 314.
Wow. That means we're one away from 315.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 11313.
Yeah, exactly. And we're 86 away from 400, I think, if my mental maths is good.
Just keep going on this.
Take it, yeah. Assalamu alaikum.